Hello designers, welcome back to my channel. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be learning how to draft a skirt pattern. So this method is an updated method. So I don't have this tutorial on my channel before. So I just hope you learn one or two things in this tutorial. Do you understand? It's just a new method. So keep watching to learn one or two things that I do differently here. So you're going to need your long ruler and you're going to need your hip curve ruler. Okay, so your pattern paper, you're going to need the measurement. That's your waist measurement, your hip measurement. You're going to need the waist to the hip. You're going to need the length of the skirt, your waist to the knee, and also your bust span, which is optional. And those are the measurements you're going to need. Your dot line too, which I'll be talking about. So if you look at my pattern paper here, you're going to see that I have lines already. So from one end to the other, I use half of my hip measurement. My hip measurement is 36. So 36 divided by 2, there's 18. So that's what I have on this pattern paper. From one edge, okay, from this line to the other line, there I have 18 inches there. That's half of my hip measurement. That's what I have right there on my pattern paper. So you're going to use half of your hip measurement to get your working space. Okay, so the first line that I'm writing here is the dot line. So for the dot line, you're going to use 6 inches. 6 inches is for all sizes. Okay, 6 inches from the waist to the dot line is 6 inches. Then I have from the waist to the hip. That's your waist the hip depth from your waist to the hip is, for me, it's 8 inches. It might be different for you, so mark difference between your waist to your hip, and that's going to serve as your hip line. So right now I'm writing the hip line, so that's the next line you're going to have on your pattern paper. So I've explained what I have on my pattern paper here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work out the working space for the front, and we're going to have the working space for the back. So now it's going to be different. You're not going to be dividing your hip by 4 in this method. You're going to be dividing your, no, we have half of the hip measurement on this pattern paper. You're going to divide it by 2. So 18 divided by 2, that's 9. So that means I'm supposed to use 9 for the front and 9 for the back. No. So for this method, you're going to remove 0.75 from the front, and you're going to add 0.75 to the back. So that means instead of using the 9 inches for the front, I will remove 0.75. Yours might be different, okay? Your hip measurement might be 40. So if you divide it by 4, that's 10 minus 0.75. So whatever your hip measurement is, just divide like that and remove 0.75 from the front measurement. So I will input that on the hip line, also on the dot line. I will input it on the waistline. The beginning of the pattern paper, it serves as a waistline. Then I also add this part here serves as a knee line. So I remove 0.75 from 9. So I mark 8.25. So the length of the pattern paper I have here is 18. So that's my waist to the knee level. Okay, so the length of my skirt is longer than that, but that's what I have on my pattern paper here. So I'm just working with that here. I hope you understand that. So I will rule a straight line now. Where I mark the 8.25, I'm going to rule a straight line. So this is my working space for the front. Okay, this is my front. So this side will be the center front. Okay, this other side will be the center back. Can you see where I mark the center? It's not the middle. You're going to mark the center back is on the other side. So that is it. So for this method, we're not going to have any dot at the front. It is only the back that we're going to have that. So that is why I will only have that on the, I won't have that at the front. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to input your waist measurement. So you're going to divide the waist measurement by 4. Or you can divide by 2, then divide by 2 again. But not to waste your time or to confuse you, just divide by 4 straight up. So 28 divided by 4, my waist measurement is 28. So 28 divided by 4, that's 9 inches. Okay, so it's 7 inches rather. So 28 divided by 4, that's 7. And I'm going to mark 7. Like I said, the front is not going to have any dots. So, and that's what I will do now. So I'm just going ahead to mark that. Can you see? So I'll connect it from the waist to the hip line. So you're going to connect it from your waist to the hip line like so. So this is what you're supposed to have on your skirt pattern, like that. Do you understand? So this is your basic skirt pattern. So the next thing I'll do is the waist contouring. So this is to eliminate any kind of folding, okay, at the waistline. So if you're working with someone that has flat tummy, you can do between 0.5 to 1 inch. So I'm doing 1 inch here. But if you're working with someone that has like a little big tummy, you can do 1.5. And for people that has very big tummy, you can do like, let's say 2 inches. So this is your basic skirt pattern here, your straight skirt pattern. We're making a straight skirt, so this is what you should have. But if you want to turn it to a pencil skirt, do you understand? You may want to turn it to a pencil skirt. So on your knee line, okay, you know the length of my pattern paper is my waist to the knee. So on your knee line, you're going to go in, let's say between 1.5, and highest you should do is 2 inches. 2 inches is the highest you should go, but between 1 to 1.5 is okay. Then you connect it, just come down 1 inch from your hip line like that. Can you see how I connect it? So please watch this part very well, and then you connect it. So this is your pencil skirt like that. If you want to make a pencil skirt, you're supposed to do this, but you're not making a pencil skirt, you're making a straight skirt. You stick with the previous line that we have. So now let's move to the back. Okay, we're going to be working on the back pattern. We are done with the front pattern now, so we're going to zoom into the back and work on the back pattern. So when you're making your skirt back pattern, the first thing you should do at the back is your back tightening. Okay, it's just like a back contouring. So I'll go in by 0.75 from the center back. I will go in by 0.75. Then I will use my straight ruler to connect it to the hip line. So if you're working with a plus size measurement, you can do 1 inch more tightening at the back. 1 inch tightening at the back is okay, but if it's not plus size, 0.752 is okay. So from where you do your back tightening, that's where you're going to mark your waist measurements. So now I will be adding that. Now I told us at the front there won't be that, but at the back there you're going to have that. So I'll go ahead to add 1 inch for my dart allowance. Okay, 1 inch for my dart allowance. So that 1 inch is plus 1 plus 7, that's 8. I marked 8 inches. So I'm checking my back hip measurement now. You know, I told us that we should remove 0.75 from the front measurements. That's why I use 8.25 for the front. For the back here, you add that 0.75 to the back. So that means 9 plus 0.75, that's 9.75, and that's exactly what I have here on my pattern. So if you do your calculation correctly, you should have it like this. Okay, it should be correct like this. So from the waist there, I'll connect it to the hip like so. Can you see? I'll connect it to the hip. So this is what I have right now. So the next thing I'll do is to plot my dart. So like I told us that your bust span is optional, in the sense that your bust span, you can use it to plot your dart, or you can just plot your dart at the center of your back. Okay, from where you tightened your back, from this side you tighten your back to the other part, you can divide into 2 and plot your dart there. Or from where you tighten your back, you can mark half of your bust span, and that's what I'll be doing here. I'll just mark half of my bust span. But if you don't want, you may not use your half of your bust span, you can just divide whatever you have on your waistline by 2, then you plot your dart. So rule a straight line there, and then I'll plot my dart with 1 inch. So that means 0.5 on both sides of the line, and that is my dart for the back. Okay, so that's my dart for the back. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to do the center back contouring. You know, at the front we did 1 inch, but at the back for all sizes, whatever size you're working with, just do 0.5 as your back contour. Okay, 0.5 as your back contour. So that's what you're supposed to do. So let's connect it like so. So you connect it to your side back. Can you see? So that's what it's supposed to do. So the same way we did at the front. So if you're making a straight skirt, this is what you should have on your pattern if you're making a straight skirt. But if you want to turn it to a pencil skirt, just like the front, you're going to use the value you use at the front. You know, at the front here, I pencil my skirt in by 1 inch. But if you're making it, if you're turning it to the pencil skirt at the back, you're going to divide whatever value you use at the front by 2. So I use 1 inch here. So that means I would mark 0.5 on this side and 0.5 on the other side too. So whatever value you use at the front, you're going to divide it to 2 at the back, 0.55 on both sides. If you use 1 inch, that means you're going to use 0.75 on both sides. And if you use 2 inches, that means you're going to use mark 1 inch on one side and 1 inch on the other side too. So thank you very much. I hope you learn 1 or 2 things in this. So this is a new updated method of skirt drafting, and I really so much love this method. So if you have any question, please drop your question in the comment section. So thank you. See you in the next tutorial.